everybody loved her, you know. She made friends everywhere she went. She always saw the good in everybody. She was different.
Tiffany Pagel was the light of the Pagel family, a tomboy who loved nature, animals, and her family. Growing up with 2 sisters and 3 brothers, Tiffany fit in perfectly, wearing dresses, but was also one of the boys.
Anytime I had a question about something, I remember going and asking. I was still pretty young, but you know, just teaching how to throw a football, or the best way to kick a soccer ball, or you know, just anything like that.
She always made people laugh. You know, she's always putting a smile on someone's face, and always had a smile on her face. So, you know, she brought joy to everybody. You could really consider, you know, my sister being the glue, you know, that really, you know, kept us together and close, you know, as a family.
There was no bond stronger than the one Tiffany shared with her best friend and slightly younger sister, Holly.
They were inseparable. They were like twins, but Holly's birthday is on December the 2nd of 82, and Tiffy's is December 9th of 81. So for 1 week out of the year, they're both the same age, you know, pretty much. We'd celebrate birthdays together. And
everything we did was together, shared rooms together. Everything we did was, you know, we always dressed identical, and everything we did was, you know, like we were twins.
Holly and Tiffany shared a love for nature, always outside climbing trees. In fact, you could describe Tiffany as having an extraordinary love for trees, at one point insisting she could grow one from a tiny sapling.
she came home one day and came in the house, and she was carrying this twig. And she says, "Mom, can I plant this in the yard?" And I said, "Well, honey, that's not gonna grow." And she says, "Oh, yes, it will." She says, "I'll get it to grow," you know. And sure enough, it grew.
Tiffany's tree grew, and so did her love for nature. In the summer of 1991, Tiffany was a happy 9-year-old enjoying her summer vacation and doing what she loved most, climbing trees, when what seemed to be a normal day turned tragic.
I had to work that morning, and you go in and you just kiss your kids goodbye, you know, and I didn't work very far away. I was only, you know, a few blocks from the house.
We were left home with my older sister. Tiffany and I asked if we can go outside and take a break, and we'd go outside and play in this tree across the street. We always played in it all the time. We'd go to the very top of this tree. There was like a cut-off stump that was up there that had a bunch of sap on it. We'd just play in it and things like that. So it's basically what we were doing that day. We went out there, climbed the tree, got on the top of the tree. We sat up there, played for a while. And what I remember of it, because she was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I seen one of her arms go up. Well, when her arm went up, it grabbed a hold of that power line, and we were really close to each other, sitting, you know, next to each other. I was sitting on the same tree limb she was sitting on, so I was being electrocuted with her. And then all of a sudden I seen the other hand go up, and both of her hands were clamped onto it. I was kind of facing towards her, and I just remember her, you know, shaking a lot. Eyes rolling in the back of her head. I had looking down and seen that there was smoke and stuff that was coming from her legs. I can't really remember, you know, what I was trying to do at that time or anything. I just knew for some reason not to touch her. I don't know why I knew that. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't try to help her. After a moment of sitting there watching that, I can't remember how I got out of the tree. I don't know.
I was actually vacuuming, and in came Holly, just screaming bloody murder. And she kept telling me, "Tiffy got shot." And I said, "She got shot? Well, who shot her?" And she said, no, she got shot. And I said, "I don't understand." So she said, "Just come outside."
When we had came back out, she had fell from the top and laid on that tree limb just right above us. And I just remember screaming her name, Tiffany, Tiffany, and then by that time I was telling my sister, Carrie, that she had grabbed those lines that were up there. And we all just stood there screaming.
It was close to the time that I was supposed to get off, and I had a phone call and said that my daughter had been in an accident, and I needed to get to the hospital. By the time I made it to St. John's Hospital, she was already gone. But you're there all by yourself, alone. They stick you in this little tiny room, and there was probably about 8 people walked in, and that's what they tell you. It's hard because you don't get to tell them goodbye. Yeah. Who would have dreamed? Yeah.
It was hard because you would go It was hard because you'd go to get her, and she wasn't there. Took a while for me to remember that she wasn't there anymore.
For Holly, that day in the tree has never gone away. Now in her 30s, with children of her own, it's a day that she revisits over and over.
It's affected my whole life, to be honest with you. I have suffered all kinds of mental things to physical things today, still even. Post-traumatic stress disorder does take over a lot of your mind. I deal with anxiety issues. I deal with the fear of death. Very overprotective of my children, like probably more overprotective than most people would be. I don't let my kids be kids, and I have a fear of losing them.
I just thank God that I only lost one. I could have lost 2, I can't imagine what she's had to go through, But I always try to be strong and be there for her, People just don't realize what she's gone through. She's very special.
Though it's painful to relive, the Pagel family wanted to team up with Safe Electricity's Teach, Learn, Care program in hopes of preventing other tragedies. They want everyone to understand the danger when trees are too close to power lines, whether climbing, working around, or trimming trees, and to avoid becoming a path for electricity to reach the ground.
I do remember lines going through the tree, but I never put thought that those lines were anything, obviously, that could harm me like that. I seen things that an 8-year-old shouldn't have seen. It has impacted my entire life. I'm ready to just let it go, leave it, and just move on with my life. And, I want to help others. I want to help others with my story.
Look at trees, look at where power lines are, and, because you never expect this. You never, children see birds and animals sit on these lines, and they don't understand, even adults don't really understand. And a lot of your power lines are uncoded. They're not coded power lines, this is bare wire, So just be careful. Look at everything before you let your children where they're playing, because you just never know.
June 19th, 1991 is a day that no one in the Pagel family will ever forget. But stronger than the memory of that day is the memory of a little girl who brought light to all of those around her. Decades later, she continues to touch those that knew her.
I miss her. She's been gone 3 times longer than she was on the earth, which is crazy. I can't believe it's been 27 years, you know? And to see the other kids grow up and have their own kids, and I always wonder, you know, who would she be, you know? What would she be? She missed out on a, you know, on a life she should have had.